In today's video, we're going to talk about beware of false narratives. What are false narratives? Those are the stories that people make up in their minds. Let's talk about it. Welcome to another episode of Career Strategies. My name is Rodney Hughes, Mr. 100%, and the purpose of my channel is really to teach you strategies that can help you advance your career. If that's a topic you're interested in learning more about, hit that subscribe button and join the family. And don't forget to hit that little bell notification so that you won't miss out on any of this extremely valuable content. Okay, so let's talk about it. Beware of false narratives, the stories that take place in your mind. So let's start here. I always believe in personal responsibility. So with that in mind, I want you to think about yourself, okay? And I want you to start with yourself. You have to pay attention to the ideas that you have in your mind, especially when as it's related to your career, okay? Because it's so easy for you to buy in to a false narrative or create a false narrative in your own mind, okay? Where you end up creating this story that you end up buying into, and then what ends up happening is you end up taking action on that false information, okay? And depending on what the situation is, that could be an extremely dangerous thing for your career, okay? So one of the things I always say is when it comes to your career, especially if nowhere else, when it comes to your career, you can't afford to buy into false narratives that you create. So whenever you have this idea of whether or not, when you have like let's say a negative thought, right? Because the negative thoughts are essentially the thoughts that can mess you up in your career. Whenever you have a negative thought, especially in regards to someone else, okay, I want you to ask yourself, am I focused on the actual facts of a situation? Or am I creating a narrative in my head? Okay, because sometimes what happens is, like for instance, just as an example, what I'm talking about, email. I am not a huge fan of responding to people, especially in regards to important subjects in a business environment via email. And the reason why is because it allows the person that receives the email to interpret it however they want to interpret it. And if they came to work irritated today, they may misinterpret an email that I send to them, okay? And I don't want to run the chance of that happening. But on the reverse side of that, I have to be cognizant of myself and really pay attention to make sure that I'm not creating a false narrative in my head when I receive an email. Right? There have been times that I've received emails either from colleagues or from clients or just from my manager where I've received, an email from these individuals. And from initially reading that email, I ended up getting real frustrated, ended up getting in my feelings, getting mad, right? But then when I had a chance to kind of remove myself from that situation for a minute and then come back and reread it in a different mind state, I didn't see what initially got me so mad, right? So one of the things I always say is this: if you, especially when it comes to email, okay, because you have the opportunity to not immediately respond back to something. So if you receive an email from someone and you initially get really irritated, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do like this. Put your hands up and say, don't shoot. And you're talking about yourself not shooting, okay? Hands up, don't shoot. That's what I always think about whenever I get an email and I immediately start to get irritated by it. Hands up, Rodney, don't shoot, okay? Don't go at people, okay? Just create some time, okay? And then come back when you calm down and reread it. And then if you're still offended by what you see in that email, then you want to take another approach towards handling that situation, okay? But what I don't want you to do is to read that email start creating a narrative in your mind that is not based on facts. Okay? The fact of the matter is that whoever that person was, they sent you an email. Okay? But sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you're right. Sometimes people were trying to be intentionally smart or trying to be intentionally offensive, right? But what if you're wrong? What if you misinterpret a situation due to other factors that may have been going on in your life at that moment? And then you take immediate action because you created a false narrative in your mind. And the more you started going over that false narrative in your mind, you started becoming more and more agitated. You became big mad. I need you to pay attention to your thoughts when it comes to your career. Okay? Pay attention to it. Because you got to play chess. Okay? You can't play checkers. Okay, you have to have a strategic mindset as you're going through your career, right? Because you don't want to create enemies. Okay, whenever possible. I mean, there are times when it's okay to create enemies. Okay, we could talk about that in another video, but in most instances, you don't want to create enemies. You don't want to burn bridges. Okay, and I've seen too many people burn bridges over false narratives. Okay. I've almost burnt bridges over false narratives, okay? So it all starts with you. Let's start with you, okay? Personal responsibility, okay? When you have negative thoughts that go through your mind for whatever reason as it's related to your career, the very first thing I want you to ask yourself is this a true narrative? Is this narrative, and what makes something a true narrative is that it's based in facts. Factual information. Okay? Not based on your opinion, not based on your emotions, but based on facts. Okay? I want you to challenge yourself, challenge your thoughts. Okay? Don't take immediate action on your thoughts because your mind can deceive you from time to time. Okay? And then next, here goes the next part of it as far as your career is concerned. I want you to be able to identify when other people are working with false narratives. Okay? And listen, when I say false narratives, it doesn't always have to be like a negative situation that's happening. Okay? Where you're clashing with a colleague or a client or whatever. False narratives can even be in terms of like strategic things that your company is trying to do. So let's imagine for a second that you're involved in a strategic planning session with your company and you all are sketching out the strategic actions that you want to take, that your CEO wants to take with the company, he or she, okay? And let's imagine that you know for a fact, based on your experience, that if you do this, and this, it's going to end up failing. Okay, and you have the answers because you know through your experience that this is a recipe for disaster. But let's imagine that the CEO, he or she, okay, is operating with a false narrative. They have this story, and you can tell based on how they're communicating that they're operating with a false narrative. If you want to advance your career, right? What that leader needs is they need someone who's willing to professionally challenge him or her on their false narratives in that moment. Okay, that's how you add more value, more stock for yourself in your career, in their mind. Okay, because you're willing, because you became aware, you were aware and alert in that moment that they're operating with a false narrative, and then you suggested to them, hey, have you ever considered this? Based on my experience, if you do this, and this, it will fail. Okay? Have you considered maybe doing it that way, and that way? See, if you can identify the false narratives, it can allow you to help people make better decisions. Okay? So again, when it comes to false narratives, okay, it's a super important thing for you personally but it's also a super important thing for your career and the long-term success of your career. Because if you can identify your false narratives and you can identify when other people are operating with false narratives, it will help you and position you to make better career decisions. Okay? Listen, I hope you got great value from this video. Listen, if you have a telephone, video, or face-to-face interview coming up, and you want to be best prepared for that interview, I want you to go ahead and order a copy of my best-selling book, The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired: How to Land the Job of Your Dreams Regardless of the Competition. And as a matter of fact, even if you don't have an interview coming up, I want you to get this book. This is a book that you will have for the rest of your career. Okay? In this book, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you from point A all the way to point Z in the job interview process. And I'm going to show you how you can avoid the major pitfalls and how you can exponentially improve your odds of having great success by improving your job interview skills. Okay? It's an extremely powerful book that you'll always go back to when you get in the mode of getting a job, because this is going to help you differentiate yourself from all of the competition. Okay? If you'd like to pick up a copy, you can click the link in the description area below, or you can go directly to my website, www.theuglytruthbook.com. Again, that's www.theuglytruthbook.com. And when you order this book, here's the cool thing about it. I'm going to throw in a free downloadable copy of this book so you can have immediate access. Okay? I'm going to send you the physical book. Okay? But I'm going to also give you immediate access to the information. All right? So go ahead and pick that up now. And also, I have a free resource that I created that might be able to help you as well. It's 100% free. It's a free virtual training platform called Interview Prep University. Okay? Again, this is another resource that you can use if you're immediately in a mode of going through the interview process with different companies. You got to take advantage of this. Okay? Again, I always tell people, for free is for me. So don't miss out on getting this. So you can go to my other website, which is www.interviewprepuniversity.com. Again, that's www.interviewprepuniversity.com. But I also have the link in the description area below. All right. Listen, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you got great value. If you did, like this video, comment on this video, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to drop content, extremely valuable content, on a daily basis, and I don't want you to miss out on it. All right, thanks for checking out the video. I will see you next time. Take care.